previous step, you have made assumptions about your status quo solution as well as your business model differences. We now ask ourselves, from a sustainability perspective, what social, environmental, or economic changes do these business model differences generate? These can be positive or negative, and it is important to look at both aspects. We advise you to look at the top 3 changes that you generate, and best practice in impact measurement is to ask which stakeholders are actually affected and what changes for these stakeholders. Identifying those stakeholders that are most affected by your business model differences is not an easy task and is likely to take some iterations. These could be, for example, employees or the government, NGOs, local communities, suppliers, customers, or as well shareholders or the environment. The question that you should ask yourself is, from a positive perspective, who could potentially benefit from your activities, but as well, who could potentially suffer? It is important to note that those benefiting or suffering from your activities could be either directly related to what you're doing, but they could as well be quite unrelated to your activities and are only affected once you look in more detail about the consequences of your activities. In identifying your key sustainability impact levers, the question of which stakeholders do you actually affect becomes mainly relevant if you combine it with the question of what changes can you generate for these stakeholders. The Sustainable Development Goals provide a good basis for thinking about changes that are relevant and important. They include goals such as no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, as well as environmental aspects such as life below water and life on land. Our Lean Impact Measurement tool will help you to bring your thoughts into a clear structure. Once again, we want you to identify the top 3 changes, which means the top 3 stakeholder groups that you affect, which you enter here, as well as the changes that you generate for these stakeholder groups, which you enter here. Once you have first assumptions about your stakeholders and the changes that you generate, you should as well enter some information about the context of your stakeholders. This is important as the context of your stakeholders influences the value of your changes. You may have realized that so far we have not used these drop-down menus here. They are meant to help you to get a first grasp of the importance of the changes that you generate. So now we would like to ask you to fill in what is the size of your stakeholder group, as well as how relevant is the need from a societal perspective, assuming that an important issue has a higher value than a less important issue. And the final question is then, how would you rate your situation for the stakeholder after intervention compared to the status quo? So is it slightly better, or is the problem completely solved? You now receive a first outcome score that multiplies these aspects together, ranging from -10 to +10. This is only indicative and needs to be regarded with great care, but it may help you in thinking about which of your changes are more important compared to others.